Hello guys, welcome to the Alrasta channel to discuss and explain the exciting storyline of your favorite series, SwallowedStar episode 209. In the previous episode, Luofeng was backed into a corner by the 9 Remoteness World's native army and had to fight for his life while surrounded by millions of enemies. Despite the prince's army's attempt to encircle him with their energy radars, Luofeng successfully gained some time by strategically sacrificing his alien slaves and utilizing his Moshe clone's ability to disguise himself. The Moshe clone then recklessly infiltrated the Bloody Sea to snatch some seawater as genetic material for Luofeng's highly coveted third clone, which holds unlimited potential for divine power. Although he was caught red-handed by the 9 Remoteness Master, Luofeng's mental resilience actually saved him. He was even offered the position of Guardian Prophet by the ruler before finally managing to return and successfully start the incubation process for his third clone. So, what happens next? Alright, without further ado, let's jump straight into the storyline. Fast forward 500 years after Luofeng formed his third clone, which still hadn't hatched, and we are taken to the land of treasures at the ancestral god sect headquarters, a place packed with hidden riches. There are tons of warriors searching for treasure there. Some have even searched like 10 million times. But most of them end up finding absolutely zip. While everyone was busy hunting for treasures, they spotted someone zooming across the sky. It was none other than Blade River King. Even though he hadn't been seen for hundreds of years after returning from 9 Remoteness space, this powerful human finally showed himself and headed straight for the highest mountain peak to hunt for loot. There was also another warrior from the Northern Territory Alliance who felt that Blade River King had some serious ambition. He asked King Barkmere if Luofeng could actually snag any treasure there. King Barkmere himself didn't attack Luofeng and just monitored the situation, since this territory was still under the protection of the 5-color Aurora Lake. As for Luofeng himself, he still needed over 100 years to hatch his third clone. He spent the previous 500+ years training, which led to a significant improvement in his understanding of space laws. Before breaking through to the Immortal level, he wanted to test if he could currently trigger the treasures meant for World Master level heirs. Luofeng climbed to the peak and got straight to searching. Meanwhile, King Barkmere was convinced that Luofeng wouldn't find a thing there. Luofeng spent his time searching, hopping from one peak to another, but he still couldn't get his hands on what he was looking for. This made Luofeng a laughingstock among the warriors from other alien races, including King Barkmere, who always looked down on Luofeng as someone lowly, even though he was really just jealous of Luofeng's abilities. Luofeng was still chill about the search, which was driving Babata crazy with depression. After circling every mountain for so long, they still hadn't found anything, and now there was only one peak left untouched. "It's called luck for a reason. If we don't get it, then no big deal," said Luofeng, who immediately headed to the final mountain peak. Once he landed there, a golden beam shot up from the surface. Babata was sure this was definitely a sign that a treasure was appearing. The heirs who noticed it immediately rushed to the location to see the mountain peak that was about to unlock a treasure. Witnessing this, King Barkmere was convinced that the treasure must have been triggered by someone else, not Luofeng. Besides Luofeng, there were indeed several other warriors on that mountain looking for treasure. They were dead certain that they were the ones who unlocked it. The treasure that appears is automatically awarded to the person who triggered it. Because of this, not long after, a rain of light from the 5-color Aurora Lake came down to remove the heirs from the mountain peak, who were deemed ineligible for the treasure. Everyone got booted out immediately, except for Luofeng. With a situation like this, it was crystal clear that Luofeng was the one destined to get the loot. The mountain peak then exploded into smithereens. A treasure ring, equivalent in value to a supreme treasure, emerged from the rubble. The other heirs watching were dying to know what was actually inside the treasure Luofeng was about to get. The jealous King Barkmere kept looking down on Luofeng, thinking he only relied on the power of treasures and not his strength. Feeling humiliated, he decided to take off because he was annoyed seeing Luofeng succeed. Once the treasure ring was in his hand, Luofeng immediately checked its contents. It turned out to be a flying palace-type treasure, similar to the one owned by the Sky Wolf Master. The treasure was named the Silver Dragon Phantom Ship, or simply Galaxy, which is classified as a high-grade heavy treasure. According to Babata, the Galaxy ship would serve as a temporary substitute for transportation since Luofeng still couldn't control the Star Tower. However, when Babata tried to activate the Palace model ship, she couldn't get access because the previous owner had locked the permissions. Access could only be unlocked by cracking the ship's secret code. Unfortunately, the displayed secret code wasn't in Babata's database at all, so she couldn't crack it. To crack the secret code, Luofeng ultimately asked his teacher, the Chaos City Lord, for help. Once the secret code was broken, a sentence appeared. From that sentence, it was revealed that the previous owner of the ship was named Cheng Feng, also known as the Wine Master. His teacher knew that Cheng Feng was actually one of the 8 beast gods during the early days of the ancestral god sect's formation. Cheng Feng was different from other beast gods who became strong through cultivation. Since his birth in the universe, he had merged with the origin law and was a true beast god. As a beast god at the universe master level, he was indeed incredibly powerful. However, creatures formed from the essence of the universe and strong from birth like him, whether it's his scales, skin, fur, or blood, everything has extraordinary effects. In the eyes of powerful people, his entire body is considered a very precious treasure. This is just like the blood crystal Luofeng uses. That object was also left behind by one of the beast gods. From here you can probably guess what happened to Cheng Feng. That's right, that beast god was killed by powerful warriors, and his body parts were taken as material treasures to help others become stronger. Luofeng didn't expect that even a being that powerful couldn't escape the law of the jungle, where the strong prey on the weak. His teacher said this applies to the human race as well. That's why Luofeng, who is considered the future pillar of humanity, must ensure his own strength first if he truly wants to protect his race. Right now, Luofeng is indeed almost touching the threshold of the Immortal level. However, according to his teacher, Luofeng needs to boost his life genes first before doing that. Only after building a strong foundation should he break through to a higher level. Therefore, his teacher also gave Luofeng some beast god blood. 1 drop of beast god blood is condensed from 100 blood crystals, so compared to blood crystals, the power of beast god blood is much easier to absorb and can push the life gene level of a strong warrior from the ordinary human baseline up to the absolute maximum limit, the number 100. His teacher hopes that by utilizing the beast god blood he gave, Luofeng can break through the general human genetic limit and possibly even surpass it. While paying respects to his teacher, Luofeng felt that his third clone was about to hatch.
能远超这个极限。
The golden egg of Luofeng's third clone looked absolutely massive and was shrouded in black energy that kept rotating around it. As the cracks grew wider, Luofeng got more curious about whether the giant golden egg would just turn into a sea of blood upon hatching, since he only used blood as the material. Turns out, when it hatched, the contents really were just blood. However, from the massive blob of blood in the air, a giant entity began to form. That was Luofeng's third clone, a living being made of flesh and blood. With its enormous body size, the amount of divine power that could be stored inside its body would definitely be massive. Considering its connection to the 9 remoteness ocean, Babata suggested naming the third clone the Remote Ocean Body. Now the third clone from the Golden Horn Behemoth's innate ability has been formed. Starting from here, Luofeng will see if he'll just remain a weak little sapling among the strong fighters in the universe, or if he'll become the sturdiest giant tree. But that all depends on how much effort Luofeng puts in. Luofeng could sense that a massive amount of memory information was stored inside the remote ocean body. Among other things, Luofeng learned that this clone possesses 2 special talents: ocean transformation and creation. Regarding the ocean transformation ability, Luofeng can transform his third clone into a vast 9 remoteness ocean within certain limits, as its volume can continue to be expanded. Thus, the remote ocean body can hold a massive amount of divine power. The ocean he can form right now only reaches 10,000 kilometers. However, there's a downside to the ocean transformation ability. Luofeng can't move freely like in his original form, and his third clone essentially loses combat capabilities. But in this mode, he can control the space and time laws around him within a certain limit. This could be a powerful attack variation that Luofeng can utilize later. However, Luofeng realized that the sea of blood he created appears insufficient, especially when compared to the World Master level Prince's Bloody Sea, which can extend up to 80 million kilometers, but for Luofeng, there's no need to think about that for now. Next is the creation ability. By purifying energy from the 9 remoteness ocean and combining it with life genes, Luofeng can create other lives. After seeing a 4-legged creature created from the creation skill, Luofeng realized he can actually create subclones from the 9 remoteness ocean. These subclones can house consciousness and be used for fighting. So, even if destroyed, the subclone can be immediately recreated. This explains why the 9 remoteness master could keep reviving after dying. It turns out only the clones created from the Sea of Blood were the ones dying. Unfortunately, those subclones have a limited activation range, and their combat power is also significantly reduced compared to the original. For now, Luofeng still can't solve this issue, so he's going to focus on improving his life genes first. Aside from the Mosha clone, which is an energy-type being, the other 3 bodies still have room for life gene improvement. After boosting the third one's genes past the limit, only then will Luofeng be confident enough to ascend to the Immortal level. This means the foundation he's building is already rock solid. While taking out the blood crystals, Luofeng wants to see just where the limit for universal life gene levels lies. Even though the remote ocean body clone is a special living being, it's also formed of flesh and blood. Luofeng is confident his third clone can also learn the 9-volume manual to boost its genes. As for the Earth-human body and the golden-horned behemoth body, Luofeng still had to use blood crystals. At that moment, both immediately absorbed the blood crystals, taking a very long time. Long story short, the golden-horned behemoth body reached its limit after absorbing over 300 blood crystals, while Luofeng's human body could only absorb 82. Therefore, Luofeng continued raising his genes using the beast god blood given by his teacher. When absorbing the beast god blood, the pain that struck was far worse than absorbing blood crystals. To get stronger, you have to feel the pain first, guys. Meanwhile, understanding the 5th volume of the 9-volume manual provided a stronger foundation, boosting the life gene level by 48 times for both the human body and Luofeng's golden-horned behemoth body. Now, the golden-horned behemoth's gene level has reached 6,400, while his human body has passed the 3,000 mark, surpassing the limit of ordinary human genes, which is only at 100. Babata said that the arrogant King Barkmirror probably only has a life gene level of around 2,000. So, once Luofeng reaches the Immortal level, clearly King Barkmirror won't be a match for Luofeng anymore. Luofeng was already grinning at this point, not to mention when he saw the life gene level of the remote ocean body rising rapidly. Along with its massive body size increasing from 3,600 times, doubling to 7,200 times, just by understanding the 9-volume manual, the life gene level of the remote ocean body has now even surpassed the golden-horned behemoth. The numbers kept climbing until they hit 10,000 perfect genes, and they were still going up. Shortly after the remote ocean body stopped developing, Luofeng's life core started reacting and giving him some visions. At that moment, Luofeng realized his life core had undergone a transformation. Simultaneously, his consciousness received a new memory message from the universal laws containing a secret talent technique belonging to the remote ocean body. And that secret talent technique is named I Am the Universe. Once that technique is used, the divine body will turn into a small-sized universe. Enemies trapped inside will suffer a power reduction, while Luofeng's power increases. If that small world were detonated, its power would be equivalent to a universe explosion and capable of obliterating enemies in an instant. Babata, who had traveled a lot with Hu Yanbo in the past, couldn't even imagine that kind of explosive power. The only problem is, this secret technique drains a massive amount of energy. If he uses the divine power from just his human body and golden horned behemoth, it won't be enough to trigger a single explosion. And even if he uses the remote ocean body, which has the most abundant divine power, it'll be burnt out after just 10 uses. After that, recharging the divine power will become even slower. Regarding that issue, Babata said not to worry. Because once Luofeng reaches the immortal level later, the universe will pour a massive amount of divine power into his body. This means after Luofeng levels up, his divine power will increase and be better than it is now. If Luofeng wants to use the I am the universe secret technique with more peace of mind later, Babata suggests that starting now, Luofeng needs to maximize his divine power storage capacity first. That way, when he levels up, he can accept a larger infusion of divine power. To expand his divine power storage, Luofeng can utilize his sub-clones, specifically the remote ocean body clone, which has the ocean transformation ability. Then what happened next? Okay, thank you for watching until the end, and don't forget to support this channel with likes, subscribe, and comments. That's all from me, bye.
徒有虚名，纯靠运气。老夫王也是几分高下，灭绝生死。